Yeah, that was the United Nations UNIFIL helicopter. It was going up and down in the valleys,
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
clearly searching for anything they think is resistance related, as their mandate is being
Yes, we are
the
right
servants
now in
of the
border town
Israelis.
of
Hey everybody, this is Laith Marouf from Free Palestine TV. Before we continue with this report, I'd ask you to press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform you're watching this on, and to go to our website freepalestine.video to donate so we can continue bringing you these field reports from Lebanon and Palestine. We are in Houla village, right on the border with occupied Palestine. We're kind of close to the center of the village, and as you can see, all around me is destruction, total destruction. There was a major air raid right there, missile that took out the house and the wood shop that used to be here, and you could see the whole crater, and everything around me is destroyed or damaged. We're gonna do a tour in the village and see the latest locations that were hit over the last 24 hours. You can see right there a mobile home container situation brought by Jam'iyat Wata'awanu, an organization that is helping the locals in the villages on the front line by bringing these mobile homes to set up bakeries or groceries in order to help the villagers be able to stay in their villages. And over the last few months, actually, the Israelis have targeted these mobile homes multiple times in many villages, including Kafr Killa that we visited before. You can see behind me the local gas station of Houla. We're at the edge of the village. Up there is Palestine, and on top of the hill is an Israeli base. The Israelis yesterday attacked the gas station here, multiple missiles. It seemed that they were hoping to destroy the gas station, the machines serving the gasoline and diesel, and maybe to even blow up the tank under the ground here. Luckily, there was nobody injured and or martyred in this attack, but you can understand that the Israelis want to make it harder for the villagers in Al-Houla to remain in their town and or to even travel in and out of it, because it's so remote, the village. You need usually a lot of gasoline to get to here, and then you need enough to go back. With the gas station damaged like this, the Israelis are hoping to make it less viable for the Lebanese people to return to Houla. Up there was a gym, and you can see the machines, whether it's the bicycling and or weight machines. This neighborhood in Houla is clearly wealthy, a lot of big villas with a lot of orchids around them. And obviously you could see the Israelis destroying every home, carpet bombing it, and or after they entered, after the ceasefire, rigging the buildings and blowing them up from inside. This is the fate of most of the villages on the border that were occupied after the ceasefire. So, Hadi, you're supposed to know all the roads, but
I
it
know
seems
all-
the Zionists have tricked us. They almost got us to drive to them.
I know all the Lebanese roads,
Yeah,
and this is a Lebanese road, but
that's an Israeli base built on occupied Lebanese territory. We almost drove to the base by accident.
the Israelis are still occupying this road. They don't want the border villages to be connected. So in order to go from a border town to another one, instead of driving for 2 or 3 kilometers, you have to go back 20 kilometers and then take another road, like we usually do if we, when we visited South Lebanon, wanted to go from Kfarkila to Taibe.
Yeah.
It's a 10 minutes drive or 50 minutes drive. They want us to take the 50 minutes drive. And as you see, they already wanted to stay here because they wiped out the entire neighborhood and destroyed all of the town here.
It's a school totally destroyed. Every house on the side of the road. Look, the whole hillside. This is the city hall for Houla. Totally destroyed. And you can see even an ambulance crushed. There was here first aid responders location destroyed in the village. Clearly the Israeli soldiers entered the city hall, occupied it after the ceasefire. You could see some graffiti from the Zionist occupation written in Hebrew. Obviously, this is the old Semitic script before it was Hebrew, the Canaanite script. But if it's up to me, after the liberation of Palestine, we'll reban Hebrew. We'll re-kill the language of the occupier. This is the Houla school, elementary and high school, totally destroyed, blown up deliberately from the inside. And it's all covered outside and inside the classrooms with graffiti by the filthy Zionist occupiers. And clearly this is one of their fetishes, other than putting on women's underwear from homes that they occupy. Another fetish they have is destruction of schools and desecrating them with graffiti. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that was the United Nations UNIFIL helicopter. It was going up and down in the valleys,
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
clearly searching for anything they think is resistance related, as their mandate is being the servants of the Israelis. Hadi, we finished our brief tour of Houla. So much destruction, and we obviously saw the place where yesterday there was the bombing.
Yes.
Houla is right on the border, and there was a huge battle during the 66-day war and massive destruction after the occupation. Tell us a little bit about Houla's resistance history and its efforts during the 66 days.
Well, even before the 66 days, during the support front for Gaza, for 11 months, Houla was one of the few villages actually that were attacked on daily basis by the Israelis, and it was used by the resistance to attack not the main village but the outskirts of the village, because it has, as you saw, many hills that are overlooking occupied Palestine. So it was very important for the resistance to use these hills to access, to have a clear sight for the Israeli bases and gatherings. And many of the most important operations of the resistance happened from this village. This is also, the Israelis responded, of course, like usual. They retaliate by striking the center of the village and the infrastructure. It's kind of like there is a punishment for each village that hosts resistance fighters, and if an operation happened, then all of the village will be punished by the Israelis. This is how they think. It's like
it's collective punishment.
Collective punishment, and it's similar to what the colonizers have done to the indigenous people in Canada and America and in Africa. They used to punish the whole people if something happened against them. It's the same mentality. And during the 66 days war, it was, of course, Houla was one also of the few villages of the borders who were actually in a position where you can barely fight and from it. If you want to defend Houla, you had to go to other villages. And despite this, because of course of the geography, so right now we are standing here, but right behind us, we can see the al-Abbad position.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most important positions the Israelis have on the entire 100 kilometers long border. It's a 3 stages building that goes even under the ground for many floors under the ground, and has the most sophisticated equipment the Israelis use to monitor all of these villages on the Lebanese side. And you can see exactly then how it's a bit impossible to defend this village from inside it. Still, during the 66 days war, many fierce fightings happened inside this village. In one of the fightings, one man was able to kill and injure more than 5 Israeli soldiers. They were invading this town, and he was also able to run and escape from them. And the Israelis tried to hit him, but as I was told by a local, that he survived. But in many cases where the Israelis and the resistance fighters were able to get into a fight face to face, it was always the side of the resistance that will do the most damage to the other one. And we already know that this happened in Kafar Kila, in Adaisi, in Ait al-Sha'ab, and in other places. Of course, it happened a lot in Khiyam. It was the biggest battle in this war. And this is why the Israelis did not want to escape, to withdraw from Houla. They stayed here. You remember that we kept trying to enter Houla after the ceasefire for more than 3 months, and we couldn't enter because the Israelis were staying here. And our last visit to this village, I think you remember when we were stopped by the Lebanese army in the middle of the village, and they said that the Israelis are still there. But it was like about a month ago, or maybe more than a month. 2 months.
Well, today we almost drove into the new checkpoint that the Israelis have created on top of the hill there.
Let me be precise. The new location that the Israelis are occupying now, it's directly on the borders. It's inside the Lebanese side, inside the Lebanese territories, but it's directly on the border. They just want, it's my opinion, that they are, the most important thing they are doing is they want to cut the roads that are connecting between the border villages. So for example, now if we want to go to Merkaba, me and you, we have to go back almost to Nabati or to Qaqa'id al-Jisr and then take another road.
Instead of just going around
Instead
here.
of just going for 5 minutes and reaching Merkaba, which
we have to go down the valley and then go up again.
Yes. So this is one thing they are trying to do. And of course they have other objectives why they are still occupying 5 points in Lebanon. And this is one of them. And this is dangerous, by the way. They are attacking people who are getting close to their bases, and they are attacking. And this is why we don't see any press teams here. We don't see.
Maybe our viewers don't know it, but we purposefully don't put on helmets and bulletproof vests so we don't scare them. But all this work is very, very dangerous. I mean, today we almost ended up inside that Israeli base by accident, this new base on the border. And right behind us, this Abbad base, they have a clear sight on us. They can, if they want to, take us out with a sniper, not even a missile or a drone. But this is the work we're doing it because we have to do it. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is here, neither local Lebanese or international news agencies. So we have this responsibility and we're delivering on it. We hope the viewers understand this.
Now here, you asked me before about the Battle of Houla. It was an important battle in the history of Lebanon and the history of the Shia in South Lebanon. Inside this village, on the outskirts actually of this village, to the south, the Sheikh al-Nasif al-Nassar, the leader of the Shias, in 1781, in the 1700s, he was the leader of the Shias, and in 1780, I think, or 81, there was a very important battle that happened inside this village, and he was able to fight against the army of the Wali of Damascus, and also who was in collaboration with Yusuf al-Shahabi, the Mount Lebanon's Amir, and they wanted to destroy the forces of Sheikh Nasif al-Nassar and destroy his leadership for this for South Lebanon, because back then there was no Lebanon. It was the different.
Jabal Amil.
It was Jabal Amil,
Yes.
basically. All of this was one area that have some self-governance. He was able to destroy the army of the Wali of Syria and Yusuf al-Shahabi in 2 famous battles. The Kfar Rumman battle, it was a huge ambush, and they destroyed the army of Yusuf al-Shahabi, despite it was 3 times larger than the army of the defenders, because they used some good tactics. We might talk about it later. And here in Houla, they also had an important battle where they won it. But later on, when Ahmed Pasha al-Jazzar, the Ottoman, came to Lebanon and decided to destroy the government of Jabal Amil, the self-governance here, because of course they wanted to occupy the whole area. Sheikh Nasif al-Nassar entered a battle with the army of Ahmed Pasha al-Jazzar, and he was martyred with more than 60 of his men, I think, in a famous battle, or maybe even more than 60. Some historians claim it was like 300 men who were martyred at the same battle. It was, of course, it was a huge loss for Jabal Amil. These were the fighters of Jabal Amil. They died. They were martyred in Yarun, and we also visit Yarun after this war. They were martyred inside the battle, and some people are claiming that Hezbollah right now, they are trying to do this stupid comparison between back then and now, but of course it's a whole different story now. The Shias are no longer outsiders who are living on the outskirts of the towns and in remote villages, and they are impoverished like they were. Now Shia are more familiar with war, and they know how to fight better than anyone. And what happened in this war, it will teach them how they should prepare for defending Lebanon against Israel in the next war, and I think this is what's going to happen. By the way, this make us remember what's happening now in Syria with the Druze and the Alawites and the new government, and how they are also trying to do this. They are trying to also to deal with the, let's say, the minorities in a way that they want maybe the minorities to go and to seek help from Israel. This is, I think this is from the both sides, because there is no way that what the new government in Syria is doing, there is no way that they think that it's not gonna make the Druze community go and seek help from the Israelis, because they already have some of their community inside occupied Palestine, and you know this, and the Israelis also want this. So you heard what's happening in Syria.
Yeah, I mean, it's been now 3 days of clashes between the HTS Wahhabi death squads and the Druze communities.
Yes.
In both the Germana neighborhood of Damascus, villages south of Damascus, all the way to Suwaida province on the border with Jordan. And we saw the videos of the attempted invasions of Germana, and then the fight back by the Druze in the neighborhood. And one thing that's very significant about Germana is that the Druze in Germana are not from Suwaida. They're actually from the Golan Heights. These are the refugees that came in 1967.
Yes.
200-something thousand Syrians expelled in 1967 from the Golan Heights, and they settled Germana neighborhood. There was no neighborhood before that. So, you know, the Syrian Druze that are in Damascus, Germana neighborhood, they don't have the same loyalties in terms of religious leaders as Suwaida. Their mashayikh, their sheikhs are from the Golan Heights, and these are, you know, people that want to return to their homes and villages in the Golan Heights, and have fought for that for, 60 years almost now.
Yes, after the Golan occupation.
And their brothers and sisters that stayed inside the Golan refused to take the Israeli citizenship. Even today, after the fall of the Assad government and the Ba'ath party and the destruction of Syria, these Syrian Druze inside the Golan and inside Germana still refuse to take the Israeli citizenship. So I think the Israelis are trying to create many schisms within the Druze community itself because of the significance of the Germana Druze or Druze from the Golan Heights. And we hear today that the kind of the most famous Druze leader in Lebanon, Kamal Jumblat, Walid Jumblat, the son of Kamal Jumblat, was assassinated. Walid Jumblat is now in Damascus. We don't know what he's doing. He's probably trying to negotiate with al-Julani some ceasefire.
Yeah, I heard this. I heard about this, yes.
And since yesterday, the Israelis conducted almost 30 air raids across all of Syria, hitting the HTS positions and the manufacturing areas, facilities for missiles, and the mechanical engineering for fixing up tanks and so forth. All of that, they're continuing to destroy it.
All of the power of the Syrian government, the new government, they want to make it government without any power, any military power. And right now, right before when we started filming, I was notified that there were also many strikes against Hama's airport and what's around it.
In Hama, in Latakia, in Hims, in
but this is
Damascus.
New. This is like less than 1 hour ago. This is after last night's airstrikes, and this is very bad for the new government. This will make things way harder for the new government to be able to show any kind of force against anyone. And some are claiming that Turkey will intervene, but I really doubt.
Of course, there was a lot of lies about Turkey, supposedly their air force having skirmishes with the Israeli air force over Syria. This is not true.
It's not true, but I think that this stems from the analysis that I think this is accurate. Right now, Israel is putting an end to the Turkish dream in recontrolling Syria and having Syria added to the political influence of Turkey like the Erdogan wanted, because the Israelis would never accept any strong Turkey and any strong Syria and a strong Lebanon and a strong Egypt or Jordan. They would never accept any country around them to be strong and independent because they see that it's a duty for them to destroy anyone around them. This is what we are seeing right now.
Well, we're going to come back tomorrow to the south during the elections, municipal elections that are happening in Lebanon. This is Hadi Hotait, Laith Marouf from Free Palestine TV. Before we leave, I ask you to go to our website, freepalestine.video, donate so we can continue bringing you these reports from the field in Lebanon and Palestine, and press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform you're watching this on. Until we see you next time, we bid you all a free Palestine.